Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, colleagues. Hey, thanks again for tuning in and listening to what will be the Zhaga 2021 update. I would, of course, also like to thank Siegfried Luger and co-workers for hosting this session, as well as this digital online conference. Great initiative, or by now I should say great tradition, great service to the lighting industry. Thank you for that. What I will cover today is what happened in Zhaga in 2021 from my perspective and zooming in on what I think are the most important developments there. So after a round of introductions, I will zoom in on the advancements on connected lighting, and I will most specifically update you on what happened with Book 18 and how we're doing there. Then I zoom in on a new topic, circularity lighting, and I'll cover the linear socketable modules, Book 21-26, and the Zhaga NFC programming of drivers, Book 24-25. And be attentive. Along the way, there will be quite some hot news because I'm just coming out of the Zhaga members meeting. Quite a few things happened there, quite a few decisions have been taken, and it's great that this is the first opportunity to share this, so stay tuned. Of course, in the end, we'll zoom in on the lessons learned, as is always part of this great tradition that Ziggy initiated. Okay, first then for introductions, for those who don't yet know me, I'm Denteneer, I'm Secretary General of the Zhaga Consortium, and I'm doing this as part of my job at Signify, where I'm Director of Standards. Zhaga then is an open industry consortium with around 400 members from the lighting industry. And there we have the first good news. Indeed, this year we've grown from slightly below 300 members to around 400 members. So real substantial growth and a sign of a healthy organization with substantial results. Okay, our mission there, I should say, we've also done something else. I was getting in a regular mood. We've also looked at the community members and see how they are distributed over the world. And this is the result that we've then created. And you see, we're truly global organization. There's still a heavy lag of Zhaga in Europe, but we're truly global organization with member countries from over the world. And it's really great to see that. Okay, our mission then is to create interface specifications for components of LED luminaires. And we do that to enable multi-vendor ecosystems of interoperable products to ensure that products from different vendors work well together. Traditionally, we have focused on mechanical interfaces, so specifying dimensions of light sources, fixation points, that sort of thing. But more and more, we've come to see embrace interoperability as our guiding principle and defined interface specifications that support interoperability of products to serve businesses in connected lighting and circularity lighting, as we call it these days. And I'll zoom in these topics in just a moment. And when you talk about interoperability, you also need to create trust in the interoperability, make sure to the world that products from different vendors indeed work well together, and that we do through a certification and logo program executed by third-party test houses. It's supported by trademarks that are legally protected and a Zhaga database in which you can find all these certified products. Okay, throughout our history, we've created quite a few specifications, and I don't have today, as had time to zoom in on them all. Rather, I go through the most important developments in 2021. Let us then start with connected lighting. And again, I would like to point attention to the Zhaga Book 18. What is this then? Well, in this illustration, we show the main elements of the Zhaga D4I interface standard for outdoor. It's a collaboration between the Zhaga Consortium and the Dalek Consortium. For me, at the core of the system are the Zhaga D4I luminaire and the Zhaga D4I node. The node is a sensing or wireless communication node, and the Zhaga D4i luminaire has a receptacle that allows us to easily add the node to the luminaire. The receptacle then fixes the node and connects it via the DALI bus to the D4i driver. And as also shown, a luminaire can host up to 2 of such Zhaga D4i interfaces. Typically, the interface on the top will host a network management node, where the interface on the bottom hosts a sensor node, embedding new smart city applications. However, the architecture doesn't limit you to do that. We only define the interface, and it's then free to define the application in the way that the application builder wants it to make. It's a platform for innovation. And I've already talked a lot about that. So let's then review what happened in 2021 with respect to this interface. And first thing to note is that in 2021, we extended the interface and combined it with a Zhaga 4-pin interface, combined the Zhaga 4-pin interface with the ANSI C13641 interface and what we call hybrid luminaires that have both Zhaga and a NEMA interface. So we call this hybrid because we allow at the same time a NEMA interface, then typically on the top, and the Zhaga interface typically on the bottom. In this extended architecture, we kept the plug and play interoperability of the Zhaga D4i system as you know it traditionally. And we have both the hybrid luminaires as well as nodes with a NEMA socket included in our certification program. So also these nodes and these luminaires, of course, when they meet the testing criteria, are eligible for Zhaga D4i certification. And the benefits of the Zhaga D4i certification are there, and I've already talked a lot about that. A simple plug-and-play way of adding nodes to luminaire. It's available as an open standard to drive scale and innovation. Provides for interoperability across vendors. Any node that is certified will work with any luminaire that is certified. This gives technical advantages when integrating the applications into the luminaire, but also simplifies the specification and tender process. And it allows you the selection of luminaires today that are future-proof to the technology advances of tomorrow. I said I've already a lot about that, and I'm also really happy to see the great uptake of this technology. By now, 36 companies certified 136 luminaire families, and there the counting is really difficult because every day new luminaires are being added to the certification family. If we say there are 136 luminaire families certified, that means that tens of thousands of luminaire types are available to the market, and that lots of companies, they offer for every luminaire they sell also a version with a Zhaga D4i interface. And we also see that this uptake has taken place in really short time, because only at the beginning of 2020 we started to certify this first luminaire. I still remember in Arnhem, in those face-to-face days, that I handed out the first certificate, and it happened since. So 3 companies certified 10 Zhaga D4i nodes, and that's a recent development. It takes some time to develop the nodes, but we also now see this starting up really fast. And supported by a strong ecosystem of certified components, both connectors and drivers available from many manufacturers. What I wanted to highlight also today, that we're not yet done with Book 18, and then it cannot yet see it as a fully complete development, because what we see is the Zhaga specification, as we have it these days, is very well suited for what we call Cobra head type luminaires, but less suited of what we see as heritage or sometimes more ornamental luminaires, as you will find them in the city centers. Because in these heritage ornamental luminaires, it's not so easy to position the two Zhaga nodes, and so they would be deprived of the advantages that our Book 18 gives. So at the last members meeting, only 1 week ago, we decided to start a new development and to also develop Book 18 so that these heritage luminaires will be supported for the Zhaga interfaces, and more details and timing are to follow. And of course, if you want to know more about this, join Zhaga or contact me. The next topic I want to talk about is interoperability for circularity lighting. We recently hosted a summit on this topic. And what we mean with circularity lighting, as our chairman Reinhard Leckler called it, is a market framework of standards and regulations for products and systems that support the aim of the circular economy through enhanced serviceability. And for me personally, it follows the principles already laid down in the publication Towards a Circular Economy of the Ellen MacArthur Foundation. And there it was put forward that modularization, standardization are an important pillar of the circularity. And we as Zhaga offer this tool to the lighting industry. I will not say too much about it. Please go to the Zhaga Summit for more details, or of course, download the white paper that we've written about this topic for more information. Rather than talking about this generally, I want again to zoom in on the specific interfaces that Zhaga offers to support circularity ambitions. And one of these circularity ambitions might be to provide for an upgrade of product features, which might be a desired characteristic of the system in certain applications. And for this, we have in the making, I must say, the Zhaga Book 21 and 26 that allow for that define socketable linear modules and that create an ecosystem which allows you the selection of modules with a desired characteristic. On Book 21, I've already said quite a bit, but the news is that this year we also started development of Book 26, which are the linear socketable LED modules for non-SELV applications, where 21 addresses the SELV applications. However, from a distance, the generic features of those standards are really similar. Toolless replaceability, plug and play interoperability of LED module and luminaire, and in support of circular economy. What we spec is the contact pads and the keys, and we offer then define the modules in a number of lumen packages with different lengths. The system is so that it's easy, safe LED module exchange by professionals. A second topic, which is of a bit different nature, is, and it's also what I want to point attention to, because these days in circularity and serviceability, we tend to think really much in terms of mechanic and product characteristics. But in the end, it's also information that here defines what we can do. And an increasing number of lighting applications require the configuration of the LED drivers and the management of the data throughout the life cycle. It starts with production, where you program the luminaire data into the driver. It then goes on in installation and commissioning, where you would project specific configuration settings and individual luminaire settings into the driver. It will be during maintenance, when you have to exchange the module, want to understand more of the data in the luminaire, and in the replace and repair, where you want to know what the history has been of the device, so that if you want to reuse the device, you can understand what it is, how many burning hours it had, and whether it's good enough to have a second life, or to say that it has to be discarded and recycled. And you can also use this, for instance, for spare part finding. So this full information flow is also an extremely important element of circularity, and that is what we're addressing with book 24 and 25. What is currently the issue with the servicing and this data management is that there's many LED luminaire, they use a variety of methods to configure the drivers and to program the information into the driver. And we have the LED set, the DALI, NFC type of methods, and all of these programming methods need different tools. And so as maintenance staff, you need to manage all these methods with different tools. What we then do with Zhaga is to harmonize the hardware, so to speak, that is needed to program these drivers, and ensure that with the same NFC reader, you can program many different certified drivers. And we do that with book 24, which then specifically adds the method of programming the luminaire components, the drivers. And we do this with book 25, which adds the capability to do the field maintenance using mobile NFC readers, and which adds the wireless link between the NFC reader and the mobile device that is used to program the drivers. So in short, book 24 makes it easy for luminaire manufacturers to use NFC programming in a production line, where multiple brand drivers are used one after another, because you do not have to change the hardware tools. You would only use on your programming device the different software offered by the different driver manufacturers. And book 25 takes us to the in-field programming by specifying the interface, the wireless interface between the reader and driver. It's based on Bluetooth, and it has the necessary information elements to ensure the communication between the handheld device and the wireless reader. As is often with Zhaga, we've constructed the interface so that there's maximal room for vendor differentiation. The manufacturers can develop their own software and drivers, and OEMs, installer, maintenance engineers, they can use one setup to configure the drivers. So it doesn't restrict you in introducing new features to the drivers. That is all vendor specific, and it's about standardizing the tooling and making sure that it will work with any NFC certified programmable device, typically a driver. And again, here we have news from the Zhaga front last week. So there we see that the technical coordination working group called out for completion of the technical work. We will then go through a period of IPR review, and then we expect the publication of this specification in February 2022. I'm getting mixed up today. And so in a few months. And we've also now talked about the certification program that will go with these books. And also that is nearing completion. So I'm pretty happy about that. And that's also hot news from the front. So what are then the lessons learned today? Zhaga creates interface standards for components in LED luminaire. We future-proof the luminaires through interoperability, supporting business in connected and circularity lighting. Book 18 is Conquering the World. And in the circularity front, we have new standards upcoming, linear socketable module, and the driver programming, NFC driver programming, which really will help the lighting industry to make progress in the world of circularity. If these or similar topics appeal to you, feel free to join us. We're an open organization. We have multiple membership options available. You can find it on our website, but you can of course also always consult me. Okay, this brings me to the end of my presentation. Hey, I would like to thank you for your time and attention. 2021 has been a good year for Zhaga, and I also have high hopes for 2022. Bringing us again already to the almost end of the year, I would like to wish you and your loved ones a great and healthy 2022. Have a wonderful holiday period, rest well, and then we continue with a wonderful 2022. And hopefully this year, this 2022, will again allow us to meet face to face, because how wonderful these digital online tools are. I would really like to see you again and talk to you face to face about the developments in Zhaga. This is for now. Thank you for your attention. See you next year.